think Izzy's
We
game plan.
thought that was Borechina. We thought that was the Terminator.
Not game.
What do you
We
mean,
found out
bro?
very
That was it.
quickly.
I could have sworn you were the #1 fan of Paulo Costa.
Oh, stop that! Stop that! I hate that man. Wait. I'm sorry. Last podcast we came to the conclusion. I don't hate him. Strongly dislike him. But it's so close to hate. That man, no killer instinct. I told you this before. You saw it in that performance. No killer instinct. He's built for nothing. He's literally just jacked. He has nothing in him. No dog. He's the definition of no dog. He's the definition of no.
Wow.
He's the guy, right?
Wow.
In college, right? That talks about brags about banging all these girls, right? But when it comes time to actually bang this girl, right? And everybody is, hottest girl in school. He's ready for it. Everybody's happy. He gets whiskey dick. That's that guy. That's Paulo Costa to a T. God, he makes me mad.
Ah, man. I think that's a good segue into UFC 303, right? Ray Tusta. God, you're gonna have to help me with his name.
You got this. I want to hear you give it one more time.
Ray Suraya.
It's close. I think it's Suruya. I think.
We'll go with Suruya. Yes.
It wasn't a flashy win. He won by unanimous decision, right?
Yeah, I didn't get to catch that fight.
On him.
Yeah.
Put a beating on Carlos Hernandez. It's one of those decisions. Like, it's not like he was knocking him out. It's just, but he had the match won. Like, everybody knew. But the reason I wanted to talk about him is because now it brings up, as I predicted, the fall of the Dagestanis. I am now making another bold prediction because we double down here. We go bold for bold. The rise of Japanese UFC fighters, or I guess the return, right? Because they were once prominent. So I say the return of the Japanese fighters. I think you got him. We talked about, bro, how hold on. I could be wrong, but I think this man's also Japanese.
I'm pretty sure
Tatsuro Taira is Japanese, right? Am I wrong? I could be wrong.
I'm gonna assume you're right.
I just want to make sure because often, these the Asian cultures get marginalized and tossed into the same categories.
Yes,
so I just want to be sure. Yeah. So Taira's Japanese as well, and I think he's bona fide. And so, he fucking knocked out Perez. I think that guy's bona fide. I think Ray is gonna find his footing. I think he's gonna end up being bona fide, and I think we're seeing like an influx of that. And I think right now it's early, so give this prediction 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
But I think by the 2 or 3 year mark, and I'm saying it now, you're gonna people are gonna take notice. They're gonna be like, damn, that one guy in the Cucamongas, that guy's a weirdo, but that guy's a weirdo, but
this man's been carrying our streams lately. So to kind of lead into that point, there is a prospect out of Ryzen, which is the Japanese organization that basically won't allow. I don't know the complete backstory, but the UFC is not allowed back in Japan, especially after the whole Pride thing, and I believe Dana's talked a little bit about it. They got a little gangster on him in Japan, man. They got a little gangster on him, and they told him, you can't be here no more. We don't care that you're basically the biggest MMA promotion. You're not allowed back here. I don't know the full story, but Kai Asukara is a prospect.
He's
21 and 4.
He's gonna be filthy, man. I'm telling you. There it is. You're hyping my prediction up, man.
I gotta go back and watch this guy. I gotta watch this guy. I don't know much about him.
He's fun, man. He's fun because he grew up. So this guy, right? I just did a quick Google search and look, this is really fun. Look at this, bro. In elementary school, dude, he trained karate and sumo. Like, that's fucking cool.
See, that's one martial art I don't believe you're ever really gonna see like mixed up, and that's sumo.
Yeah. No, because you know why? I'm not an expert in sumo by any means, but
you could get into sumo. You got the build for it.
But that's what I was gonna say. From the outside looking in, it seems to be a very build heavy, not even no pun intended, but like a build heavy. Like you gotta be a big, like big, long, lanky, but also brawling, or in some cases just weighty, fat,
Yeah,
heavy.
you gotta have weight. It's a shoving contest, you know.
And so I think that's why a lot of that's why I don't think,
Hmm.
especially the American mainstream, that's why I don't think it'll ever get that popular in the US, because of like the society. Sorry to get into like philosophical things,
No,
but how
no.
society views you know ideal body types. And I
Hmm.
just think a lot of people wouldn't take sumo wrestling seriously.
There was
And I
actually a
think that's why
sumo event in New York. I really wanted to go to it. It was a sumo and sushi thing. I don't. It's pretty expensive, but I don't know. I think there's room, but I think you're right. There's not a lot of room right now.
yeah, and again, I could let's say I did sumo and I'm going to the UFC.
Hmm.
I'd rather do a wrestling, a jujitsu. I just think it won't help as much
Yeah.
unless you're already a big guy trying to like transition into how to create more momentum in small spaces. I think that's where sumo wrestling really like explodes. That's what it is. Their explosion out of stances and quick strikes and pushing. That's where you get that value. And I
Hmm.
really think you don't really need that as much in UFC as you would do, let's say, football or something like that.
That's something that can be
American
very
football.
utilized in the clinch, especially. You see somebody like
That's true.
Darren Till push off a lot of the times in the clinch. And I've always wondered why pushing, why shoving isn't really something that you see very often. Like, you rarely see it done, but when it's done, it looks effective. Like you've seen it like Khalil, I mean, I can't even really say Khalil Roundtree cuz he kind of, I mean, have you seen him fight? We If we talk about scariest dudes that you could possibly fight, that is by far one of the top 5 scariest dudes all time that you could fight. Because he doesn't have the one punch KO power. He does have knockout power. Maybe not one punch, but the way he hits you is so malicious. Like, what did
Intent
I
behind every
do to
strike.
you? You know? We're here for a job. We're business partners in a sense.
But that's I agree with you. And I think I'm gonna use this opportunity to basically put over how special in my opinion Alex has become is because of
Mm,
that. What like to keep that kind of power, right? At that frame. Because he's a big dude, but he's not the biggest dude. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
He, and one thing that I feel like the difference between Roundtrees, the difference between oh god, the Costas, the difference between all these guys is that specifically you have the power, cool, but it's also knowing the timing and movement, right? Like what did McGregor say? What's his quote about how like timing beats speed or whatever the fuck? He has like a great
Timing
quote
beats
about
speed.
Precision beats timing. No speed.
Who? What?
Precision beats
Wait, what the hell?
speed.
we've been invaded.
Who is this?
It's your lord.
Oh my god, Hyro! What
What a
a
gift. What a
delightful
gift.
appearance. Alright, cool, you can join in. We didn't plan this, but you
No,
may
no, no, no,
most
no.
certainly continue.
No. I was just informing you guys that I can't play right now. I'm trying to, but it doesn't allow me to play and stream at the same time.
No, that's fine. We're
But
actually in the middle of a podcast.
Yeah, you joined at the right time. UFC podcast. Get in here.
okay.
Yeah, you're stuck here now. Alright, cool. Alright,
Hey,
guys, this is
so
Hyro. I'm Ah man. But yeah, kind of getting a little deeper into it. So the rise of the Japanese leading into Joe Pyfer. This man has insane power. How
bro,
can
that guy,
oh
when he lost to Hermanson, bro, and I saw that knockout, all I thought was the Michael Jordan meme, and I took that personally.
I
Like
you
that,
know
like
what? As you should.
he fucking punched that guy out of his shoes, bro. Like, it was crazy. What a performance by Joe Pyfer, dude.
He caught him with a
Just
hook right over the top that was a little blocked by the guard as well. I mean, you gotta wonder. They say he hits harder than Francis Ngannou, but at the same time, I don't believe it. But I do. Like, I believe he the Justin Gaethje of the middleweight division.
I believe Alex has a harder hit than Ngannou. I ain't gonna lie.
There, you know what? That's up for debate.
I think where Alex and Ngannou excel out with I think Piper, maybe if you punch a punching bag, maybe he could hit the hardest. But it's like Alex is knocked out a knockout. It's like it's okay, he can hit. Piper may be able to hit harder, sure. Maybe Ngannou hits harder, but if they're both teetering off their back foot, who's hitting harder? You know what I'm saying? It's that was
Ngannou was hitting
The
harder.
Alex Pereira, did you see? He caught Yuri at the end of the first round, going backwards.
Bro, that left hook was vicious, bro. And Haas, wasn't I calling it too in the beginning? How much do I get if Alex knocks him out in the first round?
Yep. It's so interesting, man. Like, you gotta do like, you know how fucking hard you gotta punch to knock someone out when you're off balance? That's crazy. And the most impressive thing that I see from Pereira every single fight is everyone says the same shit. Watch the left hook. You know what everyone falls for? The left hook. Every time. It's textbook. It's crazy.
Can we talk about the fact that, how you call it? This is gonna be a funny thing to say. But did anybody notice before that leg kick, Yuri's hair was still up?
Dude, his hair got torn. His hair, dude. Alex Pereira knocked the samurai out of him.
He did. He knocked the samurai. He went to reevaluate his life.
Bro, he came into the fight looking like Zuko. Ended up looking like season 3 Zuko. That shit was flopping to the side. Oh my god. No, that was incredibly sad. That was incredibly sad.
Yeah, but you know, those are the moments like us as fans we live for. So shout out to Jerry for like doing it. Like,
I know we skipped to we kind of skipped to the main event, but
it was worth it. It was worth it. It was worth it.
We'll get back to it. We'll get back because that's a great point. Let's start off with that first fight.
Pull up the card.
Ian Gary versus Michael Page.
Brother, this was possibly one of the most disappointing quote-unquote striking battle that I've ever watched. I hated it.
I don't want to talk about that because that was the sickest robbery, or in my head, the way Dana said it, it was a draw. Bro,
it was a draw.
Ian won the first round. MVP won the second, and like I said, the third, me and Jason were talking about it through text message. The third round, it was 50-50. Still surprising on how MVP got out of that chokehold, though.
You gotta be yeah.
Like, I thought me and Jason were watching her next to each other. I didn't even bet either fighter. I bet on the finish, and I'm like in tears because this guy MVP bit down on his fucking mouthpiece. It was like, you ain't choking me out, boy, not today. And it was like, it's incredible. It was incredible that he survived that. But I agree with you. I had Ian split. Reason being is just what you said. I think I had a 1-1 going into the third, and I think Ian inched the third. But again, this fight sucked.